Tell me a little bit about your campaign, why you're running, and why you decided to announce so early.
So the reason I announced so early is I think I'm the right person for the job, which I'll tell you about in a minute, and I have the right vision, but not enough people know who I am. So the way I solve that problem is by getting in early, doing hundreds and hundreds of events here in Iowa and New Hampshire, and really introducing myself to people kind of the old-fashioned way. And that's what we've been doing, and it's been terrific. And the reason I'm running is I think the central issue, or the central question facing this country, is we've become so deeply divided. And we need to bring ourselves together so that we can actually work on the things that need to get done. For decades, we've been fighting these kind of pointless ideological debates, and we haven't gotten anything done. And we've allowed globalization to basically disrupt this society and sort us out between winners and losers. And it's going to happen again with technology and automation. So I'm running a campaign to actually focus on the future, to focus on the kind of things we need to do to prepare ourselves for all the change that's occurring in the world. And the only way we can actually do any of those things is if we come together as a people, like we have so many times historically, to work together against these big opportunities and overcome some of these big challenges we have.
So I guess, how would you do that? How would you go about bringing people together, especially a fractured Democratic Party?
Well, I don't actually think the Democratic Party is quite as fractured as people think it is. Because if you look at where pretty much all the Democrats I know stand on the big issues of the day, right? The big issues of the day, I think we're actually really in sync with each other, particularly when you compare us to where the Republican parties are. For example, all the Democrats I know think health care should be a right. My Republican colleagues have voted repeatedly to try to take health care away from 20 million people. All the Democrats I know believe we should embrace equality and inclusion as kind of a core American value, whereas you got Donald Trump pushing against that. We all think DACA should be the law of the land. Very few Republicans in Congress actually believe that, even though 79% of Republicans in the country believe that. So I don't think Democrats are actually that divided. I think what we really have to do is focus on bringing the country together, reminding people of what is great about the American idea, and kind of fundamental to that is this notion that we're a unified people, and while we have partisan differences, and that debate is actually healthy, we can't let hyper-partisan politics allow us to put party ahead of country. And that's what's really happened the last several decades. And the way you do that is by showing respect, restoring civility to public service, restoring confidence to public service, talking about the American people as if half of them are not entirely wrong about everything they believe, which is what you often hear from political leaders on each side of the aisle. So it's a very inclusive, bring us together, work on common challenges and opportunities, and get back to talking about some of the things we agree with each other on, as opposed to always talking about the things that so deeply divide us.
And you mentioned you're out here, introducing yourself to people, building name recognition. I understand you've got some ads that are going to be running on Sunday. What are we going to see in these ads?
Well, our ads are starting this Sunday with a Super Bowl ad. The ad is actually titled "Dirty Word." You might have seen it, and it's kind of a play on the fact that bipartisanship isn't a dirty word. But then we have several other ads unfolding across the month that deal with different topics. About my background. Prior to running for Congress in 2012, I was an entrepreneur. I started 2 businesses, took them public. So I had a very successful run as an entrepreneur. So we're talking a lot about my background. I come from a blue-collar family. My dad was an electrician. A lot about my roots. So some of those ads will have that kind of feel to them. But some of them are also having a little fun with the fact that I'm in early, and I think bipartisanship is important and not a dirty word. So that's what we're talking about.
And what type of response have you gotten thus far traveling across the state?
We've gotten great response. I mean, here's an example. This morning, we had an event, and we were in Davenport last night. We had an event this morning at breakfast. We thought there'd be 15 people, and there were 40. So a lot of our events have kind of surprised on the upside in terms of how many people are showing up. So I think the response has been good. I think Iowans understand the important role they have in the presidential elections. They take their jobs very seriously, and they want to really understand what a candidate is about. And I think when they spend time with me, they understand that what I say is what I believe. I'm authentic to who I am, and I'm kind of telling them what I really think.
Right. And then lastly, why the decision to stop here in Dubuque and at this fundraiser for Abby Finkenauer?
Well, Abby is someone I've gotten to know over the past several months, and I like her spirit. I like the things she cares about. She really cares about working families. She's got a strong affinity for labor. I come from a labor family. My dad was a union electrician. And so we have a lot in common. And, I think she has a real shot of winning. And, I think we need good candidates like Abby in the Congress. So I'm here to support her. I've supported her financially. I want to come do this fundraiser for her and do anything I can to help her.